Okay, hi everybody. So the writing prompt for today is a little technical. Therefore, I'm going to do a quick tutorial. Again, use this as much or as little as it helps your actual practice. If you're interested in messing with space on the page and concrete poems, then you've got two options here. One is to use Word to mess around with typing along a path to make a kind of curve, and to use text boxes so that you can get away from the left margin. The second option, excuse me, the second option is to use Canva to follow the outline of a simple image. In order to do this tutorial, you'll need a single line of text to experiment with. So don't try to write something, now. Just grab one of your one-line poems, for example, and don't really worry about the content. You're just trying to figure out the form at this point. You're going to need obviously either Word or Canva. And if you're using Canva, you'll also need a simple image. And I'll show you in a minute what I mean by simple image. But first, I want to just talk about the programs and why we're using Word and Canva. You can certainly use InDesign, and that's the program that most folks use when they're putting a book together. So if you're working on the Sierra Nevada Review, for example, that stuff goes into InDesign probably still. If you're sending your work to a publisher, a small press or a larger press, they're going to put it into InDesign and send that to the printer. But it's expensive. You have to buy the Adobe Cloud or whatever it's called now, and I think it's like $20 a month or more. And so I think if you're just tinkering around, it may not be the best thing. But certainly if you get really into this, like this is your jam. Also, Word or other word processing programs are good for messing with the text, but they don't work so well with images. So I would say if you want to, trace the line of a shape, something more than a triangle or a circle, you probably want to move out of Word into something else. Something like Photoshop would work, or the free version of Photoshop, which is called GIMP. These are some things that you could use. PowerPoint, and I'm going to show you an example of this in a moment. So PowerPoint deals pretty well with images and putting text, overlaying text on top of that. So that's another option. And Canva. So I chose Canva because it's a free program. You can just sign up for it. And so that's what we'll use for this class, but certainly any of these others you can try. So if you're just thinking about text boxes, the Word is a fine choice. And this is the way that Vanessa Angelica Villarreal's poem looked in the actual poetry print volume where it appeared. So you can see it's like a fold out. And maybe, if you're working with a journal or if you're working with someone for your book and you have these kinds of requests, they'll help you with them. So I think keep that in mind. If, however, you want to do something that's using an image or that's like tracing a kind of complicated shape, PowerPoint could be a good option if you have access to that. So this is Eloisa Amezcua on Twitter was talking about a poem that she was working on. I think she said she worked on it for like 3 months or 6 months and was just trying to do it in all kinds of different ways and printing it on different paper. And she said she learned more from this exercise than like any other thing that she's done. So here's a part of it and what she did. And so we're gonna do this in Canva. What she ended up doing is taking every single letter and putting it in its own text box and then placing that on the line. And you can see the final product here. She's printed it on vellum. It looks beautiful, right? So you can do this, probably not in the space of this 45 minutes today, but it's definitely possible to learn the skill. So let's start by messing around in Word for a little. I've chosen C.D. Wright's, the first line of that longer poem, not the detailed one, but the, I can't remember the name now. So you can take your text and you can come to document elements here in Word and click on text box. You draw a little box. And Sorry about that. Okay, so you can just highlight the text and press text box and it'll put it in a box for you. Now you know. And you can reshape it however you want and kind of move it around. So this is something to think about if you just want to get your poem off of the lines that it's on. And yeah, do something other than just like right or left justified. This you can also, this you can also follow along a path. So if I go to insert up at the top here and then word art, boop, it's going to give me a different box. So this you can format however you want, right? So you can, I'm not sure why it's not picking up the whole. You can center it, you know, make it a block. You can transform to a circle. And here I need this box to be bigger. And I'm going to come here to effects and transform and make it a circle. Right, so here you've got a little circle. This is maybe too stylized for you. If you don't want the word art, you can just stick to a normal bit of text. And again, you can kind of move this around however you want. You can make it bigger. Right? You can do lots of things here. So that's basically the word tutorial. For Canva, oh, let me say this. So the reason why I'm not suggesting that you use back to the same one. The reason why I'm not suggesting that you use an image in Word is because it's quite hard to get the path to follow exactly the curve, right? So that's one of the problems. And then also you've got to do a bunch of stuff in terms of like anchoring this so that it doesn't move around. Otherwise the text will jump and not want to sit on top of here. So there are many more steps in Word in order to get it to actually function like tracing the shape of an image. However, let's move to Canva. So if you want to sign into your Canva account, I'll just show you quickly what I've been working on. Again, with CD Wright's first line. What I did is I copied and pasted the text up here at the top and then created a text box for each individual letter. So each of these is its own box. Which I'll zoom in so that we can see a little bit better. To click away from it in order to click the next one, click away from it, click the next one, right? So I'm just taking each of these boxes, I'm pulling it over here, and then I'm going to tilt it so that it's going along the circle in just the way that I want it to. This is a bit tedious, right? So you gotta really be ready. You gotta get a cup of coffee for this one, right? And then you kind of move it down here. So anyway, so this is one way to trace a shape. And I'm going to show you from the beginning how to get to this, right? So you can start with a template. I'm going to go home here. And up to template. I'm sorry, my computer's being really quite slow. Hello. Okay. Let me start over. Yeah. I'll do a poster. And let's see, I'll do some fancy something here. So I don't actually want all of these animals. I'm just really interested in this font and these colors, let's say. So I'm going to pause here and delete all this stuff. I'll be right back. Okay, hi again. So here's my basic template. I really like this text, so we're going to hold on to this. And I'm going to come over here to uploads. So if you've already chosen a kind of simple image, you can upload it to Canva and then insert it into your template. I've got a fence. Yeah, for no clear reason, really, just because it seemed kind of simple. You can come up here to position in order to change where it's anchored. You can also, and you may want to do this after you've lined the text up a little bit, but you can also change the transparency. So you can, move it in the background entirely, or you can move it all the way in the foreground, depending on what's going to be easier on your eyes and easier for you. So I've got my text here. Let's see if I can, woo, that's great. I've pasted in my CD-Write text, and now I'm going to change the font size to 12, nay, oh, this one too, from 295 down to 12. So this is going to help me as I get closer to moving this. So what you can do is if you have the text in a box and you want to line that up with a straight line, you can really just grab these two arrows and shift it, right? Otherwise, and I see I'm going to have to actually expand this quite a bit because you can't see it. Otherwise, what you're going to do is you're going to grab a single letter here and paste it into its own box, right? So I just pressed cut and then paste. So again, I'm going to cut, click outside of the box and paste. It's putting it right on top, so I'm going to move it over. Here, I'm cutting, I click outside of the box and paste. So I've got a handful of letters here, and let's imagine that I'm just trying to go along the top side of this. You place your letter, and then again, using these arrows, you can kind of angle it. So in the next, whatever is left, in the next 20 minutes, see if you can use Canva or use Word to mess around with the shape of your poem, either tracing a line, and it doesn't matter. I mean, an arbitrary image is really fine at this point because we're not trying to make the form and the content match up and interact in this iteration, just trying to get a sense of the technology. So make a mess, have fun, and I'll see you soon. Okay, bye. Let's see. Almost bye. I gotta stop recording. And